Exhausted by caring and giving? Chaos overwhelming your spirit? Unlock stillness for true healing. Tarot reveals rest, decisions, and abundance. Watch now. Greetings, all my soul seekers, and here we are, ready to take a look at stillness as being part of our spiritual healing and wellness journey. As you know, we've been looking at awakening, releasing, remembering, healing, reconnecting, and then we'll go into further expansion and empowerment. At this point in time, this reconnection feels to me to be the next step that will really help us with this idea of stillness. When you're reconnecting all of the work that you've done so far, it helps you to find peace within the silence. And that is something I'm really having to work through right now. My heart goes out to all caregivers. I find myself back into a caregiver role that I had not anticipated. And I think many of us have done that when you don't expect it. And even if you did expect it, let's say you're having children, that's a caregiving role. It's a little different than caregiving for elderly, but similar things going through your mind and the way you try to do your best for them, for yourself, and keeping yourself strong and not doing anything that is going to weaken yourself, because usually you're the strongest of the collection there, the one that has to step up and be the role model, the one who actually does the actions and makes the choices and decisions for one and all for the benefit of all concerned. And sometimes that weighs so heavy. I know it's not sometimes, it really, in my book, weighs very heavily. I've been in other supporting roles for caregivers before too. So if you're a supporter of a caregiver, know that your job is so important. That caregiver needs all that you can give and offer at any time, even thoughts and prayers, and the just being there for them when they need to just express sometimes, or just holding space for everyone who is going through a really interesting time. Some of you are working with children, and those children are growing, and so they're starting out at, say, baseline 0, going all the way up to maturity and beyond. Some of you are dealing with someone whose baseline was their maturity, and now it's declining. So you're not going to see the same trajectory of upward momentum. You're going to see more of a downward momentum. And that's hard to be in that situation. So we're going to be looking at the Soul Life Treasure Hunt board today, as we're going to look at spiritual healing and wellness when it comes to stillness. What can we learn? And I'm going to be asking the Holy Spirit to help me, because you know what's going on in your life, where you're at in all of this. And I know what's going on in my life, and it's not always easy, is it? It isn't. Even if you're not in a caregiver role, that need for stillness in your life is impeccably important. And it's easy to go, yeah, just sweep it under the rug and not make it mean that much to you. But it does mean a lot. So let's take a look at what we can learn today. We're going to go into the material realm. Interesting. And okay. So as we're looking at this wealth resources, it makes a lot of sense. Many times caregiving takes a lot of wealth and resources. Sometimes you're caregiving while someone is utilizing their wealth and resources. So your decisions on how to distribute those properly. Do you help with a further assistance, babysitters, assisted care. How do you manage financials as the person can no longer do that anymore, or how you are utilizing the finances you actually have on behalf of the empowerment eventually of that person or the estate. Now, this is really interesting. As you know, I've got the chakras here. This really is interesting. We're looking at education, and I'm curious what that means. That really is down in this toolbox. So, your material wealth and resources in education, as I'm thinking about that, oh, yeah, finding the information you need, if it's on baby care, parenting, childhood, all of it, that's you're getting yourself educated and in the niche of what is needed, the psychology, the financials, the outlook, all of that. Now, in caregiving, same thing, but you're looking at role reversals many times where now the question is, how much control are you being given? Do you need to take on and allow for that other person? What's going on medically? What's going on financially? What's going on in their own psychology, and the process of releasing and letting go and still finding what you need. So it's an education for yourself. And this education that we're going to focus on today is stillness. So whether it's caregiving or not, you're going to need stillness, the ability to breathe, the ability to go deep and allow yourself to be quiet and give yourself that space so that you can actually let all of your systems, your mind, your body, which we talked about before being a very much an antenna and alerting system, going to point you back to that discussion that I had done a while back that really lets you tap in and trust your body to let you know. So if you're exhausted, you got to listen to your body. If you're feeling energized and it's go and it's feeling and looking right, it's not bypassing the emotion of depressions or struggle. It is actually, we got the energy to move forward and do things properly. It could be in career. It could be in many other arenas that are very much possible for you, but a lot of it is going to be in this material wealth and resources, what you've manifested and what's manifested in front of you. So many times people talk about, you create your own life, and I've often questioned that when it comes to feeling sideswiped by other people's karma and other people's manifestations that then bring forward something for me to contend with. And that's why I can see that as a caregiver. But I think you can see that in careers when you are either in business, you've got a client base that you need to support, you've got your own employees, you've got the other people who have hired you to represent them. You might have a business that you're an employee of, and the CEO is making decisions, and that is impacting you. And is that really something that you have manifested? And that's something I'm going to let you journal on as we go through this. But at this point in time, I want to take a look at education, what we are manifesting in whatever scenario we find ourselves in right now. What is happening in our abilities to deal with whatever is coming? Remember, you've done all the core work all your life. Everything that has come to pass and brought you to this point, the heart of the matter is what we're dealing with. And we're going to focus on education as a manifestation of what's at the heart of what matters most to you at this point in time. So are you getting the education you need? What is the education telling you? How is it impacting what you are contending with? I'm going to once again be dealing with the Millennium Toth Tarot. We've already looked at that many times. I'm going to get going. Four of Swords. Four of Swords is taking a break. It all needs to come together. And it's pretty stormy. And we are, all of us, contending with quite a lot. But I also love in this card, you have the Jupiter sign along with the Libra zodiac sign as well. And you've got all of the elements on the hilts of each sword, and they all point to beautiful flower, which I'm going to call that to be your heart of the matter, the beautiful life that you envisioned. And then these lines that are going out, they really go along with the peace. This is love, and harmony, which is the balance, as well as what was past and what is going to flow out of all of this. And this is the decision point where you are at this current time. Do we have an influencing piece? I'm just going out of my normal way. And it is Eight of Wands. And there's your information. Mercury, the communicator, the information. And Sagittarius is your point, to the arrow point. Where do you want this to go? When you point this and it hits the target, that target, you being the gem here, can actually be spot on, and it will actually radiate all the way around. Again, seeing the radiating of the four can actually create wands for you that are, for me, that's free will. And the swords are your thoughts, the beliefs that you are holding. And you want everything to be able to go not only toward peace, love, harmony, but you want that arrow to be able to say, this can radiate out to healing the past, moving forward in the future, finding a purpose, finding the season and cycle that you're in, the personal journey that you're under, and your ultimate outcome. This all is really where we start talking more deeply in the membership, is how to do all of this when you are facing something like this, where you have to decide what it really matters to you most. That is powerful. I had no idea this was coming our way, but that really explains what the membership can offer you when you're in a really tight situation, asking, what's holding me back? Why am I stuck in this moment? That did I manifest or did I not manifest? Because I've manifested things, and then like a job or family or whatever, but things change. And sometimes it's humdrum, mundane, and not as glamorous and romantic as you might think. And that is something that I've had to contend with too. It could be like a new car. You manifest a new car, but eventually that new car becomes dinged and old, and you have it, but now you want something else. Well, what does that mean in your own being? Why are you still striving for more? Maybe that's good. Maybe that's what you want. Maybe it's like, I need to ask myself, why am I not content with what is and what I do have? So those are just some thoughts. We're going to go to the Libra side, the balancing. What are you trying to balance out in your life so that it can really expand and create even more? and that is Two of Wands. Is that back and forth, that free will again, that choice, and how you get active with it. You can see Mars being very much the action and getting forward with it. And Aries is like, you're not stopping me. I am taking this mountain. But which one? Which one is going to be the one that will make the decision a commitment for you? Which responsibility are you going for? That is a great question for you right now, because you're at that either or transition. You've got at least two choices, and in every choice, there is a consequence. No matter what you're going to do, you're going to get a consequence one way or the other. You'll either get regret or you'll get responsibilities. I see that with investing. A lot of times I'm so excited to get an investment going, but then comes the responsibilities of maintaining and directing it, making it happen. So it takes a lot of education there too. I hadn't thought about that. But in investments, you also will have a similar trajectory of, well, I didn't expect that, or I just need to dig in and get more educated and get more information so I can make better decisions and not be at the mercy of someone else's goals and someone else's agenda. Or maybe I want to let that be somebody else's job and I will not go there. So you've got the either or. I've done that before where I've said, okay, here's my money, invest it, make it happen. And they failed me. And it's like, I guess I have to be more involved, more educated personally, so I can direct and know what they're doing and make sure that they're doing what I have wanted all along, which is at the heart of the matter, a beautiful life. Now, it could be that they're going to get the beautiful life because they've got the clientele. I, being the client, need to make sure that they are doing what I likewise want. I have no problem with other people helping me and giving me assistance, but I do want to be in charge of my own life because they're going to be in charge of their life, and they're not going to take my priorities to heart because, first off, they're not inside my head. They don't know all my beliefs. They don't know my past. They don't know fully how I'm really envisioning a future and what gives me peace and the balance I need. So it all needs to be something that I can express, follow through, watch, make sure it is actually lining up. We can see the lining up, because ultimately it's going to be so cool when it all just expands, like a seed expands into something far more abundant, far more productive in the long run. And that's what I always envision every time I invest or have raised a child or been part of other career moves. It's all of that. But this does kind of talk about being very quiet within yourself, the rest, so that if you notice, all the points are coming to the center, which is you. And then once you get that and you've made your decision, ultimately to be able to have that just burst out of you. Maybe it's you have a legacy that you are building right now, and it will over time really expand and become more than just the seed money you put in, all that interest, all of the ability to move step by step into the next, into the next, into the next. It all fulfills something deeper than just the seed, the money. It's more about all of you coming out and expressing and saying, I am so amazed because compound interest, whatever I'm interested in, has expanded. Writers and artists might be in a similar boat. Maybe the time they spent being quiet and writing and doing art or research, when they get a chance to finally take one of these wands and direct it to the gem of what they're ultimately wanting, it will bloom, become more than just the sum of the time that you put into it. If you don't start somewhere, it's never going to happen. You can keep everything in your mind, but if you don't get active, if you don't make choices and point your arrow to something that is a responsibility or a commitment that is worthy of your time and efforts, none of this would happen. It can't. It's just always up in the head. And then you start blaming others because it should have happened for you and you never did anything. You just sat on it. That would be really difficult. Let's take a look at what you are conscious of, the peace you can have inside yourself, knowing how to, well, you just know this. This is something that you can draw upon. So let's see where we're at. Okay. I always feel these when I pull from them. Is Nine of Wands. All right, and that's going to go up here. But Nine of Wands shows me, you know how many times you're feeling blocked. You've got all your arrows, that enlightenment, that vision, and you've got your arrow. Remember, we had the arrow down there. But you know that will of yours, it feels somewhat blocked because there's so much going on. There could be steps you need to take, scenarios that you need to clarify, and you need to just educate yourself bit by bit by bit by bit and go up the ladder of what it is you ultimately want. And it takes time. Perseverance is what I see in this as well. So Wands, while it's free will, it's also telling me arrows, it all needs to be worked through. And in this era, your beliefs and your thoughts are actually at times creating a block of some point. It could be other people's beliefs. Maybe it's at some point you'll be rising up within the company, or maybe someone will finally mature and be able to be on their own. But in the meantime, you've got all the responsibilities and you are holding the vision of what it takes to be successful in life. I see that with kids, or if you're caregiving for a loved one, again, what is the ultimate goal? And you're going to have to make that decision. So wherever you're at in life, it works in every scenario of what is at the heart of the matter, what is your will in this matter, and given everything that is coming at you all at once, it's all coming at you. So even though you may have an either or, sometimes there's more in consideration. I know that many a times we have our lives. We need to live a life. We need to still have fun in life. We still have friends we care about, loved ones that are wanting to have us involved in their lives, and other ideas of what we're wanting to include. And that can take a lot of energy and time. So in that regard, this one thing that you are going toward is not the only thing that you're dealing with. So giving yourself some space, you've got a major situation, and that major situation has to include the fact that you've got a life to live. You've got goal at the heart of the matter, something you want to put some time, effort, and energy toward, which will give you a really expanded experience that you're going to want to see as the outcome of the time and effort. All this silence you're doing for your spiritual healing and wellness is not going to be for naught. What you want is it to be really powerful. And this is how you do it. This is your gateway. So I'm going to now take a look at what brought this into being and kind of how we see it working out for you. The Tower. So things fell apart. All of the thoughts that you thought and believed, things that felt like it makes sense to me that this must be the way life is. Many times that's how we're taught. This makes sense. You do the thing, you build the tower of what it's all about, and at some point life will ask you, what happens if that falls apart? What happens if none of that is actually real? What are you going to do? That ivory tower is how I see it. And so many times it can look like the eye of the divine is making other plans for your life, and other things are coming at you, trying to steal what you've got or what you've built, and you've found that it did not entirely answer what was truly at the heart of what matters to you most. So the Tower, that's a major arcana. So that's like, it really takes everything that you had built to that point, thought was real, and crashes it down so you can actually build something that actually makes sense and can expand that. So what in your life had come crashing down and is no longer at a prominent priority in your life because it's gone, or it proved to not be the real deal for you? Maybe it was for somebody else. Maybe it was just a wake-up call. So the outcome is Eight of Pentacles, is that fruitfulness and your ability to do the alchemy of artistry. That one kind of was trying to come out with it. We're talking about manifesting, right? So in the manifesting, you're really wanting to take whatever seed of information that you're wanting to manifest and grow into something very, very productive, and using the nutrients of the universe, the nature, all of it, to create something that is profitable and sustaining and just really great for this current season. In doing that, it's going to take some artistry. It's going to take being able to do the strong things, seeing and being objective, and mixing all the elements that are from your past to your future all together, everything that is available to you, from the divine to the practical elements that are here for you. Creating that life is going to be part of the alchemy that you're doing. And remember, we were talking about the Eight of Wands. I always see that as the bridge between. The bridge between all the work you've done to create something that matters and ultimately brings you a bounty that you can look at and say, that's beautiful. It's more than what one seed would give me when I planted it. And now I've got at least 8 times what one seed had given me at that point in time. I could have eaten the seed. I could have discarded the seed. I could have done a lot of different things. But the hopes and prayers and interest of what you put there is what is coming back to you as a return on your investment. The magic of being able to make it be something that is your design. I love that. So education. She's pretty educated on what she's trying to accomplish. And she knows that she's not in this alone. You know that there's going to be challenges to your will. You know that that's okay, because even if something falls apart, you know that you still have other choices, and going silent when you need to, just to rest, to breathe, to allow what is coming. And it takes a decision on what elements are you going to mix together. I see this a lot of times in the kitchen as chefs are putting together the ingredients that are available to them, you do the same thing. How are you going to nourish this manifestation you want to actually bring? And it will take educating yourself, finding out what others have done, what others can tell you, what those elements are all about individually, and trying stuff out. You're going to need to just check it out and see what there is. Okay, we have another reading, and stay tuned, members, because I'm going to go over and we're going to be working on filling this out and going deeper into, well, how do we do this? It sounds good on paper, but how can I actually see more connections? And it becomes at that point even more of the aha. Okay, when I put this into my life, I can see now where my priorities need to be. I need to make sure and you'll fill in those blanks. Journaling is going to be such a help to you. Check out my other videos and let's keep going on the path of spiritual healing and wellness for your sake, my sake, everyone's sake. It's a beautiful journey.